I arrived just after 9 in the morning. That was my first mistake. The sun was already up, bright enough to wash the color out of the buildings as I drove in. It was one of those towns you only ever see when you're passing through. Two main streets, a servo, a pub that hadn't updated its sign since the 90s. Nothing abandoned, nothing broken, just quiet, too quiet for a weekday morning. I slowed down as I rolled past the shops. Every storefront was shut, not boarded, not vandalized, just closed, shutters drawn, doors locked, lights off. A bakery with fresh chalk writing still on the board. A cafe with chairs stacked neatly inside, like it had closed early. I checked the time again. 9:12 a.m. I pulled over near the servo, killed the engine, and stepped out into the sun. The heat hit me immediately, not oppressive, just present, the kind of warmth that makes you squint and breathe slower. The street was empty in both directions. No cars, no people, no dogs, no birds. Even the wind felt like it was holding back. I walked up to the servo door and tried the handle. Locked. I knocked, light at first, then harder. Nothing. That was when I noticed the sign taped to the inside of the glass. It wasn't printed. It was handwritten in thick black marker. Closed. Open after dark. I frowned, stepped back, and scanned the street again. Every shop had the same sign, different handwriting, same message. I laughed under my breath because my brain wanted this to be a gimmick, a theme town, a religious thing, some backwards regional tradition I hadn't heard of. Then a voice behind me said, very calmly, "You shouldn't be standing out there." I turned so fast my neck cracked. An older man stood half hidden in the doorway of a building I hadn't noticed before. The door was only open a few inches, chain still on. His face was pale, eyes squinting like the light physically hurt him. "You need to come inside," he said. "Now." "I just need fuel," I replied. "Everything's closed." "Yes," he said, "because it's morning." I waited for the joke. It didn't come. "Is there somewhere else I should go?" I asked. The man looked past me, not at the road, at the space around me. "You came in after lock," he said. "That's bad timing." "Lock?" I repeated. He tightened his grip on the door. "We don't stay visible during the day," he said. "Didn't anyone tell you?" My skin prickled. "I'm just passing through." "That's worse," he said. I was about to ask him what the hell that meant when a sharp metallic sound echoed down the street. A click, then another, then another. Doors locking, all around us, not slammed, not rushed, methodical. The man flinched. "Inside," he hissed. Something in his voice made me move without thinking. I slipped through the door just as he slammed it shut and slid a deadbolt into place. The interior was dark, curtains drawn tight. The air smelled stale, like a place that had learned how to wait. He leaned against the door, breathing hard. "You're lucky," he said. "I don't feel lucky." "You will," he replied, "in about 7 hours." His name was Colin. He owned what used to be a hardware store. Now it was just storage. Shelves pushed up against the walls, boxes stacked high, windows completely covered. The lights were low, yellow, never turned all the way on. "Why does everyone close?" I asked. Colin poured water into 2 cups with shaking hands. "Because it's safer not to be seen." "Seen by what?" He hesitated. Then he said, "By daylight." I stared at him. "You're joking." "No," he said. "We learned that early." I waited for more. He didn't give it. Instead, he pointed to the wall. There was a list taped there. Old, yellowed, rewritten so many times the edges had curled. Day protocol. Doors. Locked by 8:45 a.m. Curtains fully closed. No movement outside. No standing near windows. No reflections. No silhouettes. If you are outside when the light settles, stay still. If you are seen, do not run. My stomach tightened. Seen by who? I asked again. Colin looked at the ceiling, then the floor. It doesn't have a name, he said. It doesn't need one. The light outside shifted slightly, not dimmer, sharper. Colin stiffened. Sun settled, he whispered. Don't move. At first, nothing happened. We stood there in the dim shop, listening to our own breathing. My heart hammered loud enough that I was sure it could be heard through the walls. Then I noticed something wrong with the shadows. They weren't moving, not naturally. The sunlight outside was bright, but the shadow lines visible through the cracks in the curtains were unnaturally sharp, frozen in place, like the sun had stopped moving. Colin swallowed. It's looking, he said. For what? For anything that doesn't belong to the dark. A sound drifted in from outside, not footsteps, a soft dragging sound, like fabric being pulled slowly across concrete. I stepped closer to the curtain without meaning to. Colin grabbed my arm hard. Don't, he hissed. No silhouettes. I froze. The sound passed by the storefront. Slow, deliberate. I caught a glimpse through a pinhole tear in the fabric. The street was empty, but the light wasn't right. It lay across the road like a solid thing, thick, heavy, almost textured. The shadows of buildings stretched too far, overlapping in ways that didn't make sense. Then I saw it, not a body, an absence, a region where the light bent slightly inward, like something was interrupting it without casting a shadow. It moved smoothly down the street, pausing occasionally, evaluating. Colin's grip tightened until it hurt. Don't let it outline you, he whispered. That's how it takes you. Takes you where? He didn't answer. The absence stopped, right outside the door. The light pressed harder against the glass, bright enough to leak through the curtain seams. I felt exposed, measured, like the shape of my body was being traced by something that didn't need eyes. Then, just as suddenly, it moved on. The pressure lifted. Colin sagged with relief. That was close, he murmured. I realized my shirt was soaked through with sweat. You're telling me that thing comes out during the day? No, he said. It doesn't come out. Then what does it do? It clarifies. We waited. Hours passed slowly, measured by the creeping ache in my legs and the dull shift of light beyond the curtains. Colin rationed movement like it mattered. When he walked, he stayed close to walls. When he sat, he positioned himself where overlapping shadows met. Why not leave? I asked quietly. At night we do, he said, when we have to. And during the day, you don't outrun something that can see you perfectly, he replied. The sun gives it edges, shape, orientation. I thought of the list. If you are seen, do not run. Why not? Because movement sharpens you, he said. Stillness blurs. The scream came just after noon, short, abrupt, cut off mid-sound. Colin closed his eyes. Tourist, he said softly. We heard something else after that. Not screaming, a sound like paper tearing, slow and controlled. I imagined a person standing in full sunlight, perfectly outlined against a wall, and then not. When the sound stopped, the street went silent again. That's it, I whispered. Colin nodded. By sunset, no one will remember exactly where he stood. I didn't stay in that shop, not forever. At dusk, the town changed. Doors unlocked, curtains opened. People emerged cautiously, blinking like nocturnal animals. Conversation returned in hushed fragments. Lights came on. Life resumed, careful and practiced. Colin walked me to my car. "You need to leave now," he said. "Before morning?" "What happens if I don't?" He looked at me, really looked at me. "Outsiders don't know how to disappear properly," he said. "You'd stand out." I drove away under a darkening sky, hands tight on the wheel. In my mirror, the town looked normal again, harmless. But as the road dipped and the last light caught my reflection in the glass, I noticed something wrong. My shadow lagged behind me, just a fraction, like it was being decided on. If you ever pass through a town that closes in daylight, if you see shutters drawn at noon and streets emptied by sun, don't knock, don't wait. And don't tell yourself it's just a strange custom. Because some places don't hide from monsters. They hide from being seen.